Mechanical keyboards. They've been the subject of gamers for so long that it transformed to be a matter of life and death for some people. And today, on the first episode of Is It Worth, which is a series that I'm gonna be starting. Now I'm really sorry for the recent inactivity, and we will talk more about that later in the video. Now back to our subject. Mechanical keyboards range from a very low price of $30 to an insanely expensive $300 and more. But is it worth buying them? When buying a mechanical keyboard, or a keyboard in general, you must take in consideration a few factors. Number 1, switch kind. Number 2, the environment you're going to be using it at. Number 3, the reason you're buying it for. And number 4, the cool factor. Last but not least, in the number 5 spot, the price. Let's discuss these points one by one, and please let me know if I forgot any point that you think is very important for you. Anyway, let's begin. Number 1, switch kind. There are many switch types, such as mechanical, mecha membrane, and many more. The most famous being Cherry MX, and they have a variety of different switches. The most famous being Cherry MX Blue switches, Cherry MX Red switches, Cherry MX Brown switches, and Cherry MX Blacks. And I will put a link in the video description explaining each and every one of those Cherry switches in depth. Starting with Cherry MX Blue switches, which are my personal favorite. They are a pretty loud tactile switch that are best for writing and gaming. Using them is a very satisfying experience for me. They have a really nice sound and the click is just so comfortable to use. And up next are Cherry MX Red switches. Now these switches offer a silent and linear click. I don't really prefer them, but they're a durable choice and one of the most preferred switches across the Cherry MX users for their silence and because they are mostly aimed at gamers. Now for Cherry MX Browns. These switches offer the middle of both worlds. They have a tactile click with a half linear, half clicky sound and feeling too. Now I really like them, but again I prefer blues. Now on to the black switches, which in my opinion are a heavy version of brown switches, meaning that they need more force for them to actuate than blue switches or brown switches. I personally don't really like them because they require a lot of pressure and they are not easy to get used to. Now there are many other Cherry MX switches, such as greens, clears, silent, whites, and grays. And there are also many Cherry MX clones, such as Kale and Automo. And these are companies that use lower quality materials, so they can make up for the low price of the switches. And they are mostly used on cheap mechanical keyboards, but that's a title for another video. Now to the second point, the working environment. And this is a totally up to you or up to the rules of your workplace. Say for example you work in an office area. You can't get blue switches because they are loud and tactile and clicky and can disturb and annoy other people. But say you're at home playing your favorite video game, you are totally free to use whatever you like. Or if you're not a heavy user of computers, meaning that any membrane keyboard will do you well. Just there's no reason for you to rush and buy a $100 mechanical keyboard that you won't even use once a year. And in my case, I share my room with my brother, so we have kinda strict rules about using the blue switches, as they're kind of annoying to other people. So this point depends on you or your lifestyle. For the third point, why are you buying it? As I said in the last point, if you don't use computers that much, don't buy a very expensive $200 mechanical keyboard. On the other hand, if you use computers a lot, you need something that will relax your hand and satisfy your brain with the feeling of mechanical switches and their clicky feeling. Ah damn, I'm getting relaxed already. So this depends on how you use your computer, and in my case I use my computer for over 4 hours a day, and using a normal keyboard sometimes hurts my hands. Besides, using mechanical keyboard further improves the experience and satisfaction of using your computer. And before we move to the fourth point, I want to talk to you guys about why I was inactive for the past 3 weeks. I've been on a lot of pressure from my school and I had to focus all my time on studying. Besides, getting a very little amount of views really brought me down and decreased my morale, so I decided to leave the channel for a while only and focus on my school. So now that I am back, I am ready and I finally found a way to balance between studying and working on my channel. So all that talk aside, let's move to the fourth point, the cool factor. Now you might find this silly, but it's always cool to be the one with the Mustang in the neighborhood. And it really feels good to go into your gamer friends and be like, hey guys, I just got the all new Corsair keyboard for the $200 price tag, and see their reaction, be like, whoa dude, that's very cool. Or just others calling you a PC geek. And for me, that's a nice addition to having a cool keyboard. And for the last point, pricing. So this is the most important of them all, or at least I think so. Because it's just stupid to go to Amazon and order a $500 keyboard that is made out of a freaking floor mat. It's always a wise choice to examine the product before you buy it. And it's always nice having experience in a certain field before diving into it. Thanks all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the first ever episode of Is It Worth. Like, share, subscribe, and please leave a comment sharing your opinion and letting me know what you think of the new series. And I would love to know if you think I should do a review on a cheap mechanical keyboard or not. So thanks all for watching and see you later.